In the day's other headlines, the Trump administration is suing New York City and its mayor, Eric Adams, over its sanctuary city policies. In a 37-page lawsuit filed in federal court in Brooklyn, the administration writes that, quote, New York City has long been at the vanguard of interfering with enforcing this country's immigration laws. The president has often sparred with Democratic leaders in cities like New York over laws that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. Separately, President Trump signed an executive order today making it easier for cities and states to remove homeless people from the streets. And he signed the bill to cancel $9 billion in foreign aid and funding for public broadcasting, including for PBS. Also today, we're following changes at two separate federal agencies. First, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced a plan to move most of the agency's staff out of Washington, D.C. She said an estimated 2,600 workers would relocate to 5 regional hubs around the country. A union representing federal workers immediately criticized the plan. Changes could also be coming to FEMA. A bipartisan bill announced in the U.S. House today would make the head of the agency report directly to the president instead of the Homeland Security Secretary. The bill comes at a pivotal time for FEMA, with President Trump saying he'd like to shut it down completely. In Ukraine, 2 women were killed and more than a dozen people were injured in the eastern Donetsk region following the latest Russian strikes. Separately, in the northeastern city of Kharkiv, officials say at least 33 people were injured by Russian glide bombs, while in the port city of Odessa, Russian drones ripped through the walls of this apartment building. In Russia, 48 people are dead after a passenger plane crashed in the country's remote Far East. The plane came down in the dense forests of the Amur region, just north of Russia's border with China. There were no survivors. Aerial video showed a column of smoke rising from the woods. Officials say the Soviet-era plane was operated by a private Siberian airline. Investigators are looking into the cause. Plane crashes are becoming more frequent in Russia as international sanctions and the war in Ukraine hinder Russia's plans to upgrade its aging fleet. A major escalation in clashes between Thailand and Cambodia killed at least 12 people today, mostly civilians. Thai officials say fighting broke out this morning near an ancient temple in a disputed border area and has since spread. In Thailand, villagers ran for cover during Cambodian attacks, which left a gas station on fire. Cambodian officials said today they were defending their territory as Thailand launched airstrikes on Cambodian targets. The countries have a long history of disputes along their shared 500-mile border, though today's violence was much more severe than most. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed after Tesla boss Elon Musk spooked investors by saying the car maker has some rough times ahead. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost more than 300 points. The Nasdaq managed a slight gain, adding nearly 40 points. The S&P 500 added to its recent record run. And we have 2 passings of note this evening. We start in the world of jazz and the death of musician Chuck Mangione. The trumpet player and composer enjoyed widespread success with his 1977 classic, Feels So Good. He won a Grammy that year and then a second over a career that saw him release more than 30 albums. Mangione also enjoyed success as a voice actor, appearing in the animated TV show King of the Hill. In 2009, he donated his memorabilia to the Smithsonian and then retired a few years later. Chuck Mangione was 84 years old. And wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died.
There he is, World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, and he has never looked better.
Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, was arguably the biggest star in professional wrestling in the 1980s and 1990s. He won at least 6 WWE championships and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005, though he was temporarily expelled for using a racial slur. Hogan's success in the ring led to appearances in movies and on TV, including his own reality show on VH1 called Hogan Knows Best. In 2016, a jury in Florida awarded him more than $100 million in a privacy case against Gawker Media. And then, of course, there was this.
Oh, no!
was enough!
Hogan making a main stage appearance to support President Trump at last year's Republican National Convention. It was a memorable moment for the man who often positioned himself as the embodiment of the American dream. Authorities in Florida say they were called to Hogan's home early today after he reportedly suffered a cardiac arrest. Hulk Hogan was 71 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour. Amid political backlash, the Justice Department meets with Jeffrey Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. A freshman Republican congressman gives his take on the president's agenda 6 months into this term. And the federal government starts cracking down on people who have not repaid student loans.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.